Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be taking a first look at Gold Mythic Deputy Carl, who is going to be a Ultra Token Wheel character coming to RTS. Now visually we have had, I'm going to say, a baby Carl in the past where it's basically been a younger version of Carl with the Sheriff's hat on as well. I believe he also, I think, was even tough, and he didn't have an attached weapon either, and it was kind of hilarious because you could put weapons in his hands that were honestly twice the size of him. There are some sniper rifles out there which are absolutely massive, and it looks great on Deputy Carl. He is a tough character holding that shotgun, no attached weapon, so whatever weapon you put in his hands you'll get the visuals of, so it'll be quite interesting. You can see on the left hand side we've got the Carl gunning, you know, just doing maybe some practice shots, as you've got Andrew behind him just giving him some little tips and info. He looks pretty angry, honestly. But if you haven't seen the Andrea video already, they're going to have quite good synergy, and maybe Carl's going to be able to add to that as well. The Andrea video you should be able to see in a link in the top right hand corner on this video right now. Now if we look at Carl's stats at level 1440, limit break 3, he has got a whopping 38,343 attack, 19,171 defense, and 19,171 HP. He is a tough character, obviously holding that shotgun. He's going to be a damage roll character. He's going to be a Gold Mythic, of course, and he's going to be joining the Holiday Heroes Allegiance. Now, first up, we'll look at Deputy Carl's Adrenaline Rush, and it is called Watch Me. It is a 55 AP cost rush, so actually extremely fast. Remove all positive effects from a line of enemies, then deal 800% damage to that line of enemies. If Gunner Andrea is on the team, that line of enemies get 20% of this character's attack stat as main damage. This is extremely interesting because the removal of all positive effects is going to be all defense buffs. So someone like Sebastian, for instance, who has a defense buff, that will get removed, and then Deputy Carl will rush that line. He's obviously going to do trait damage there, and he can't proc weapons because the damage type is just dealing damage, cannot crit, but cannot be blocked by absolute defense, so on and so forth. The extra on top with the maim is going to come in last, but I do think it's actually beneficial that it comes in last, because if it comes in first then you do damage, I think potentially you wouldn't actually be able to take out a character as easily. It might not actually make any difference, but you are effectively going to be able to get an extra massive amount of attack. Now his base attack is crazy high, like 38k is really high. I will say there are other things in this kit that are going to amplify that off base. Then you've got things like buffs that are going to help. And he's going to be able to get up to 110k, 120k without any problems at all. And that means that that main damage is always going to do at least 20k main, which is actually pretty reasonable, honestly. Okay, so we have got the Adrenaline Rush up here, and I am going to obviously rush the bottom line. It is worth noting that obviously it removes all positive effects. This includes the first turn halo that is quite prevalent right now. And I'm going to attack the bottom line. We are going to do trait damage, so I might do a bit significant damage here. I've modded both of these characters just to get a bit more HP on them. We'll do the Adrenaline Rush. We will be able to take out one by the looks of things, and the other one tank the damage just a little bit. I will say he's obviously got damage amplifiers where you can massively boost this if you have seen his specialist skill already. But no positive effects, as you can see. No halo on Nor. If I would have taken her out, she obviously would be down for the count, and even decapped in this case because of something else in Carl's kit. Okay, so we're going to do the Adrenaline Rush again, and this time we're going to target Nor because she's the one with the control. She's got Daze and Impair, so it is worth obviously focusing that character because of how Carl's kit works with the specialist skill, which we'll get onto a little bit later. But I'll do the Adrenaline Rush. It's just interesting to see how the main damage is going to work. Is it actually going to do damage over the top of what his initial damage is, or is it just going to make it so that the damage he initially does is unhealable? Here comes the rush. We are going to take out Nor, remove that halo, and she's decapped. But the damage onto Sebastian, it looks like potentially the main damage is just going to make it so that the initial damage he does is unhealable. So it isn't going to be like extra damage on top. I think the main would have to come in first, then the other damage would have to come in afterwards to be able to do that. But it does mean it's now unhealable. His max HP has changed. He's going to be a bit easier to take down. And obviously, for a lot of people, I think the highlight here is that he's no longer got Halo. This is going to be very nice on those turn 1 just takedowns versus likes of Davey or teams with Circuit in. Now going over Carl's upgrades on his Adrenaline Rush, you can see at grade 3 it gets an upgrade where it removes all positive effects from a line of enemies. Initially it doesn't do any removal of the positive effects. This is massive, honestly. The Halo removal in particular, I can see a lot of people just seeing that and just being like, yes please. Halo's massively problematic, very hard to take down lots of Halo at the same time, and it does slow down fights quite a lot, so Carl maybe is going to have a chance to get into teams to speed up things off of turn 1, and you can see he has got some decap potential, which is most likely going to be in his passives. You can see at grade 5 he gets an upgrade where damage to a line of enemies, so initially he doesn't actually do damage to a line of enemies. I guess he potentially just does single target damage to grade 5, but that's not too hard to come by. 2 copies, you want to get as many copies as possible, of course, get higher stats, but if you get up to LB2 you'll get a 400% damage boost, so it'll go from 400% damage to a line to 800%. Now I'd say this is very important, but he will get amplifiers in other parts of his kit, but 400% damage is not going to be enough to take down these extremely tanky and high HP characters, especially if you want to get a really fast team going. You're going to need all the stats you can get and every sort of like ounce of percentage that you can get out of an attack team. And doubling the damage on the rush, yeah, that's definitely going to be a massive boost. I like this rush a lot, especially with the current high-end problems when it comes to Halo. This is going to help a lot against those sort of teams. And the fact that he does get a little boost off of his rush with Andrea, although it doesn't seem ultra effective when it comes to how the order of operations happens, it is going to stop heals being able to heal that character back up, so it's going to be easier to do some follow-up takedowns afterwards. However, I will say there is still going to be some more boosts coming Carl's way if Andrea is in the team as well, so this isn't the only way. But I like this a lot, and this is, I think, one of the first times we've ever seen a rush that has, you know, when a teammate is in the team, so effectively there's kind of like synergy in there, and it's a nice little boost. It's not too problematic if you don't have the character in the team, but it's just going to give a little boost over the top. Like Andrea has one if Carl's in the team, so it's like just two-sided synergy. I like that a lot, actually. Now, Carl, of course, has a signature move, and it is called Point Blank Shot. It's an initial cooldown of turn 1, cooldown of 2 turns, number of uses unlimited. Deal 600% damage to an enemy, plus 100% damage for each negative effect on that enemy. That enemy gets a random debilitating effect for 2 turns if they did not have a debilitating status effect. This is very interesting because, especially teamed up with someone like Andrea, she can lay down a lot of control off of turn 1. You're going to have extra damage if they've got negative effects, but if they don't have negative effects and you do this, he'll put a negative effect on them. That's kind of interesting. He isn't a control character, so he hasn't got a great chance of that landing compared to, you know, an actual control character, but this is be seen as more of a bonus. The damage on this is going to be pretty decent. It's not going to be able to crit, so it will not be able to take effect of like the weapons, so it won't be as high damage dealing as other characters like Raven. It will be something in line with someone like Sophia's signature move, which is very good, but it obviously has limitations just based on the fact that it can't crit. Now, again, I'm just going to reference the specialist skill. This can be amplified just based on that character already having control, not just on the fact that he's going to get 100% damage for each negative effect, but he will get double damage effectively if they've just got one debilitating status effect. As much as it says 600%, you can pretty much read this as 1200% plus in a lot of situations. So here we are off of turn 1, and I'm just going to do the signature move straight away on Noor here. We can see the sort of damage that it's going to do, and you can see that it did 68,000 damage, and it also taunted the character that he did the signature move against because they didn't already have a debilitating status effect against them. However, if I do this signature move again, and they do have a debilitating status effect against them, he'll do amplified damage. Now we're attacking again, and you can see Noor actually has 4 negative effects. Is there 5? I'm not actually sure. She's got so many negative effects against her right now. It's crazy. She's got Normalize, Confuse, Impair, Stun, and Daze. I don't actually know how I just did this. It must be because Carl's in the team, but I did attack with Andrea, so she did too. He's going to do massively increased damage because he's going to get 100% for each of those negative effects. Plus, he's going to get a boost because of his specialist skill. So he's going to go from whatever it was before. I think it was like just under 70,000 to how much? 240,000. So you can see the scale that this can go just based on negative effects and so on and so forth. Now, in this case, we didn't remove the Halo, so she will get picked up. You might need to have a ransack character in a team against this sort of thing, but obviously at this point, if I wanted, this is where I could command Deputy Carl and take out a different line of enemies. He potentially has a pretty decent 3-character takedown off of turn 1, and against these Halo teams, that is very significant amount of takedown. Now, looking at the upgrades on Carl's signature move, it gets a 200% damage boost at grade 2, so it goes from 400% up to 600%. At grade 4, it gets an upgrade where that enemy gets a random debilitating effect for 2 turns if they did not have a debilitating status effect already. At limit break 1, it gets a -1 to starting cooldown, so it goes down to a turn 1 starting cooldown. And at LB3, it gets an upgrade where it gets 100% damage for each negative effect on that enemy. The scaling on this is actually kind of crazy. The fact that it works with that specialist skill as well is very, very nice. You're basically getting twice the amount of benefit from getting negative effects on the character. Well, actually way more than twice the amount of benefit, honestly. But this is crazy good, and it does promote the usage of control characters in attack teams. I know a lot of people love to use heavy attack teams, just all damage roll characters. But this is a perfect example where it's good to have a bit of balance. Carl's going to benefit from this massively, and he looks like he's got huge potential when it comes to his damage. That first turn signature move, though, you've got to be careful with. Like I said, you might be able to set it up. You could potentially have Shane lead and just steal away a Halo buff, and then you could just come in with Carl doing huge amounts of damage and so on and so forth. Or other characters, you could have a support character just coming in with a basic attack to do ransack. Obviously, you can use him against non-Halo teams, but this guy is there to take out those Halo teams by the looks of things. That Adrenaline Rush alone is so effective, but this damage on this signature move is nice. It has got a 2-turn cooldown, so it's going to be coming up quite often as well. And as you saw, massive amounts of damage potential. Went from, what, 70k base up to 240k with mods, with obviously a good weapon, with a good team around him with lots of 1535s or 20% weapons, so on and so forth. That's going to be boosted drastically. It cannot reflect. Reflect mods won't work. It cannot be controlled. It cannot be stunned, so on and so forth. So very, very nice indeed. So of course, Deputy Carl is going to be an Ultra Token wheel character, and we're going to be doing an Ultra Token giveaway in this video. To enter, it's pretty simple. You have to write a sentence in the replies, and part of that sentence has to use the keyword, which is going to be authority. If anyone gets the reference, we're probably going to see some South Park little jokes here, but you have to type authority as the entry phrase here, because that's how you get into the giveaway. We're going to be doing the draw in about 10 days on my week Monday stream, so not this next one, but the one after. And you can win yourself 10,000 Ultra Tokens if you are the winner. Best of luck if you enter. Now back to the video. Now here are Deputy Carl's Mythic Abilities. These are his passives, and we're going to be able to see what he was basically doing before, because there were some random things kind of occurring. Now he has got agility because he's a damage roll character. It is worth noting that his Adrenaline Rush and his signature move can't take advantage of this, which is a little bit of a downside. His basic attacks will, and it will multiply with his specialist skill. He will do basic attacks now and again, so it might be worth boosting this just a little bit, at least up to like 9 out of 10 before you start going into the really key resources. Now, if you want to get the best out of Carl, where even those basic attacks could be doing significant damage, you will want to max this. The next one is Police Presence. At the start of each turn, 60% chance a random enemy gets impaired, stunned, and dazed for 2 turns. This isn't at the beginning of a wave, so it isn't going to occur once. It's going to be at the beginning of every turn that Carl's alive. 60% chance means it's going to happen more often than not, and that is crazy control. Remember his signature move that happens off of turn 1, and that's what happened to Nora in one of those previous clips. He's going to get at least 3 times 100% boost on the character that it lands on if he does that signature move on them. And obviously, because it happens at the beginning of every turn and it lasts for 2 turns, you could effectively have it 2 turns in a row, and there's 2 characters very, very hard controlled. He could even be used on a defense team in a proper cheese team where he could potentially get this off. And there's already a character in the game that does this as well off of the first wave. So if you team them up together, you could have quite heavy control just off of turn 1 with ultimate cheese. This passive here is very problematic. The next one is called Buddy Cop, and this is where you get some synergy with Andres. This character gets 15% attack, and that's going to be pure stat. It's going to happen on the stat screen. And then if Gunner Andrea is on the team, this character gets an additional 15% attack on top. This is massive. His attack stat is really high, and getting an initial 30% boost. It's like he's carrying a second weapon that's just not upgraded, but that's still really crazy. He'll have like 30% on this, 50 to 55% on the weapon, then 40 to 50% on the leader, then buffs, so on and so forth. His damage stat is going to be crazy, crazy high. And then the final passive is called Tracking Shot. We saw this actually occurring when this character performs their specialist skill, 100% chance to target and one other enemy get crosshairs for 3 turns. Now, I don't have to test this out, but we will anyway. This will occur on the target that you focus with his rush or like a takedown. If you take out the character, it applies the crosshairs first and then it decaps them, because you saw that happen on Nor. You saw them removing negative effects, then you saw the takedown come in, but then you also saw the fact that the character was decapped. This is going to occur with his signature move as well, but if that character has resist, he can't bypass them at all, because he isn't a control character, so he can't lower those resist. And that's why he wasn't decapping off of turn 1 against that team that I showed before, because they did have crosshairs resist. So if I just show Carl in a team by himself, unmodded, he gets a 15% attack boost, so it goes up from like 39,000 up to 44,000. Then if I add Andre into the team, he goes from 44,000 up to 50,000. Then we can add Easter Erica into the team, and he'll go from 50,000 up to 76,000. So at this point, he's actually doubled his base attack stat from 38 to 76, and he's unmodded, no 1535s around him, and no weapon in his hands. The base attack he can get is actually extremely high. Okay, so here we are off of turn 1, and we have got Halo on the entire team again from Circuit this time around. And we have got a character that got the triple control. It is going to be Nor in the bottom of the screen. We're going to do the signature move actually on this character as well. Get some extra control in. We need to control Sebastian anyway, because we don't want him rushing. Extra control, extra 100% per debilitating status effect. So there's at least 3 or 4 here. We'll do that signature move again. This time it applies crosshairs, as you saw it just come in at the end. And the character is decapped. Now this works regardless if the rush or it's a signature move. So I can do it to the top line now, and you can see crosshairs got applied to Kyle in the top right hand corner, and he's decapped as well. So it bypasses Halo with the application of crosshairs, but with the rush it just straight up removes Halo anyway. So even if they've got crosshairs resist or something in their kit to stop them from being able to get decapped, for instance, like Circuit here, it will still remove the Halo off of turn 1. So obviously no chance of them coming back up. So even if you somehow don't take down the entire team with a full Halo setup like Circuit and Davey have, you'll at least be able to keep a couple of them down with the decaps potentially, and just obviously remove Halo from other characters. So very effective passes by the looks of things. And if we look at the upgrades, you can see a grade 1 gets the first half of Police Presence, making it 30% chance that he will stun, impair, and daze a character for 2 turns at the beginning of each turn. Then at grade 2, he gets the first half of Agility, being 10% increase to his basic attack damage. Then at grade 3, he'll get the second half of Police Presence, making a 60% total that he'll get those initial controls at the beginning of each turn. At grade 4, he gets the first half of Buddy Cop. He'll get 7.5% attack base, just for him being in the team, and an extra 7.5% if Andrea is in the team. Remember, it has to be the Gunner Andrea, not just any Andrea. Stacking 4 Andreas in the team will not boost him up. If we get to grade 5, we get Tracking Shot. When this character performs their specialist skill, 50% chance to target and one other enemy get crosshairs for 3 turns. Very powerful, of course. And then obviously we have Agility 2 come in, making it 20% increased basic attack damage total. Then at LB2, we have Buddy Cop 2 come in, making it 15% attack boost off of base, and then an extra 15% if Gunner Andrea is in the team. Then at LB3, we have Tracking Shot 2 come in, making it a 100% chance that their target and one other enemy get crosshairs when this character performs their specialist skill. To perform his specialist skill, all that he needs to do is attack a character that has a debilitating status effect on them, whether it be by basic attack, rush, or his signature move. And as I've shown already, this effect comes in before they're taken down, so if they are taken down with the signature move, rush, or basic attack, they will actually be decapped as well. Now, we've been talking about the specialist skill, and it is Cutthroat 2. Whenever this character deals damage to a fighter that is under the effect of a debilitating status, they will deal 100% extra damage. This is just really nice for Carl, and it's going to be really nice for his signature move and his rush. It kind of counters the fact that his agility is not really going to work, because he's effectively got ultra agility in his specialist skill, and the fact that there's going to be a lot of control laid down potentially by Carl is going to be really nice. But any other teammates, not necessarily just Andrea, but there are a lot of other teammates out there that can do control. The sort of team up that I was doing with Laura actually is going to be quite beneficial too, because she impairs 2 characters at the beginning of every wave, and I think they maybe have to be support characters, but that's just putting more debilitating status effects on the enemy team. If you have characters that potentially do that at the beginning of turns, for instance, Trader has the ability to stun someone at the beginning of a turn, or he has his rush, which does impair and daze. There's going to be potentially lots and lots of control on teams, and Carl's going to just benefit from that massively. Massively amplified damage on the signature move, like honestly ×2 passive specialist skill plus the extra 100%, but also the rush is going to get a boost just from this specialist skill. Now, we went over it already. Carl does not have an attached weapon. This means you can put whatever weapon you want in his hands. There aren't too many super weapons that will work with him, but you can see in his art he has got an attached rifle. So maybe that rifle will come out in a future battle pass or in a league store or something like this. We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully that third slot will actually be able to work with him. Basically, maybe on takedowns he'll get boosts, that sort of thing. I think they maybe need to actually create new third slots for all these characters that deal damage. The likes of Sophia, the likes of Carl, don't get much boost from the actual third slot on that weapon. They only really get a boost from 1535, not much else. But if you have any ideas for Carl's weapon or plans that you have got set in motion, let me know in the comments down below, guys. But I have got, honestly, no idea. It's just going to be lots of attack, definitely up to 50 to 55% attack. Now, his rush is not super costly. It's only 55 AP, so he doesn't necessarily need AP on attack. But it might be good to just have it just in case, because that rush going off seems very important. So that's it. That's a little first look at Deputy Carl, and honestly, he looks really good. I'm looking at this guy and thinking he's like Sophia levels of damage output. He's very good against what is problematic at the moment, especially what I've seen just starting to come around quite heavily. Huge amounts of Halo around, especially off of turn 1. If you want to be quick, you have to be able to remove that Halo. Decaps are important as well, and Deputy Carl does both of this while also adding so much damage on top. I like this character a lot, honestly, and I'm already thinking of potential teams that I could use him in. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of Carl. Best of luck if you enter the giveaway. I want to thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.